Coach, players have talked a lot about this sort of selflessness going throughout the team. Is there any story that comes to mind for you, for like players embodying that?
No, nothing specifically. I think it's embodied just in the daily actions and interactions of the group.
Coach, can you talk about what you kind of hope to see from your team before Big Ten play with these matches coming up?
Well, again, it's another chance to get better, and hopefully that's the mindset going in relative to the fact that we made some significant improvement, I thought, over the course of last weekend. And we know that the season continues to get tougher, so these chances to improve, to become the best version of ourselves are really important. So hopefully we can, take advantage of that this weekend.
And the Texas match, or just that whole trip, what did you learn from your team? Because I know obviously you won a tough schedule going in. You played some tough teams, but Texas, former #1, they're a lot of talent there. So what did you learn from them?
Well, the first two matches were also challenging in different ways. Denver and Texas A&M Corpus Christi are both challenging opponents. They present different styles of offense and certainly some tenacity on defense that make it tough to consistently execute. That being said, we had to take care of those matches before we got to the Texas match, because the Texas match wouldn't really mean too much if somehow we'd slipped up before that. So I was really impressed with the way the first day of the event we kind of owned our performance and took care of business. And then going into the Texas match, I just thought our athletes' composure was really impressive. We'd challenged them to make some changes technically, especially on the defensive end. And they took responsibility in that part of the game. I thought our ability to stand there and dig a hard-driven ball was better than it had been. I thought blocking-wise we were much better, especially our middle blockers getting their inside hand over and dealing with some of those sharper angles. So it was great. And to play a good team in a good environment is important, but to be able to thrive under those conditions is also important. So I was just really impressed with the way they battled.
Samantha, as a player, do you look at these rankings and awards the team gets? I mean, obviously you've seen some success, or do you try to just, tune it out and just focus on the game?
Right. I think we're more focused on us as a team. The rankings and awards are nice recognitions, but they don't really mean anything for our success, so we just try and focus on the team.
Samantha, what has surprised you most about this year's team?
What's that?
What surprised you most about this year's team so far?
I don't know about surprise, but I would just say that it was really cool to see all the freshmen come in and just work hard right away when they got here. A lot of them have been contributing a lot, so it's been really cool to see that.
You were in their shoes not that long ago. Is there any advice you give them that helped them, kind of speed up that process?
Probably just not letting the moment get a hold of you, because, we play in front of a lot of people, a lot of different environments, but just trying to focus on yourself and focus on the team and not really so much on who's on the other side of the net is really important.
Samantha, what makes this team, maybe more apt to going further than teams that you've been on?
I think this team has a big capacity to work hard. We have in the past as well, but I think we're just very selfless, as we've mentioned a couple times, just really working hard for each other and not trying to look too far into expectations and whatnot.
Coach, are there a few things you'd like to see this weekend before Big Ten play, maybe improvements or areas of the game you'd like to see get better?
Sure. It'd be nice to hold on to the changes we made last weekend. And then, there's a pretty long list of things that we need to figure out. We have some offensive wrinkles that we still need to iron out, especially when Sam's in the front row, getting our back row attacking rhythm where it needs to be. I think our tip coverage was okay, but I think that's something that we need to continue to work on. Certainly our first contact has been a strength, but we need to continue to work on that. Serving and passing is always going to be a key for us. So if we can get a few of those things in place this weekend, we'll be doing well.
How have you senior players sort of fill the void that a player like Sarah Will had left?
Well, before Sarah there was Dally, and before Dally there was the Tori Dixons of the world and Ashley Whitman. So every year there's going to be turnover. And I think that's one of the really great things about the way our program is established, is that there's this, I'm not sure I want to call it a tradition, but certainly an expectation that the upperclassmen, as they move into their senior year, kind of evolve and take on some of that leadership. I think that's a really great opportunity that they're given. But within that, we're also not a particularly hierarchical group. So we tell our athletes all the time, you don't have to be a senior to be a senior. Anyone can have a voice, and certainly anyone can have an influence of leadership. But the thing, relative to this year's iteration of the team from last year, no doubt Sarah carried a big load, but we've got a group of people that can manage those swings for us, and it seems to me that we've got a little more balance in our offense than perhaps we've had in the past. But there are lots of ways we can attack teams, and before, again, I don't think that we were a one-trick wonder either. I think we had some other things we could do, but it just feels like this year there's a few more ways we can create space and attack space.
Wave me off if this was asked before I got here, but we were watching that match at Texas. How do you guard against both of you? A letdown, incredible environment against an opponent that you knew were going to give you a great test. How do you guard against a letdown going this weekend?
Oh, for this weekend. Well, yeah, I mean, as much as it was important to play well against Texas, it's not about Texas. It's about us. And that's the thing we're really trying to focus on is, as Sam mentioned earlier, the expectations, the other stuff. I mean, that's great, but those are generally other people's things. And as a team, we get to define who we're going to be in the moment of competition, and we get another chance to do that this weekend. And if we're a team that's going to need thousands of people in the stands and a quality opponent on the other side of the net to define us, then we're going to get into trouble at some point. So I don't think there's any issue with this weekend relative to letdown. All three of the teams can play. They're all good. And that's one of the other things I don't think people understand about women's collegiate volleyball is the depth of talent now across the nation and across all conferences is great. And we know that we might end up being the best team that some of these teams are going to play. So they're coming for us. We're not expecting any rollovers.
What sets Sam apart from other setters in the Big Ten?
She's right here. I can't be. No, it's very easy to answer that. Well, I think there's a few things, but I was talking yesterday to someone about Sam, and in particular, the thing that I'm most impressed with is her ability to create. Some setters set the set that they think the hitter needs. Some setters set the set that the hitter needs. And the fact that she has some kind of empathy and creativity for giving the ball that we need in the moment, and understanding that, and that's a very intuitive part of her game that I think is very special and unique. In addition, she's committing to becoming an all-around player. I think when she first got here, she could set pretty well, and she could hit a good serve in the court, but some of the other parts of her game were a little bit lacking. But now she's becoming good at the net. She's certainly taking care of the backcourt as well, and in addition, I think her setting has improved. So. And she's one of our best servers, but her best is yet to come. As good as she is now, I think her commitment to the process and the way she's committing to this team, I think those are really important things.
Sam, you okay with all that?
Yeah.
Is that a fair assessment? What do you think, Sam?
Sounds good.
Yeah. I tell her that stuff, and she gets a little embarrassed, but I do tell her. It's not a surprise that she's hearing that.
So then, Sam, who was most influential in your development as a player?
Well, definitely Hugh has been a big role throughout my time here. All of the coaches really, they've just really invested in me and helping me become the best I can be. So